Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking.
You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
Jacine's taking care of things for us all month long. Thank you so much. But
And
I
I would
love
try
the
and-
podcast. It's fun.
I love the podcast too. Yeah, it is fun. It is fun. I hope you guys are sharing with others. It's totally something you can share. And, our mission is to spread the creator-based way throughout the world. And
flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope, right?
Yes. And we can't do that without your help. So it would be really helpful if you guys could like and share. We'd really appreciate it. Yeah.
So Grit and Grace again today. I understand we are interviewing someone really special this week.
So special. Yes. We love her. We love her.
Stop.
Jen.
Stop. Stop.
Come on. Well, I hope you guys have taken a minute to just kind of think about, have I ever had face down moments? And just as a reminder, or in case you missed it last week, I'm going to start off with the same quote by President Theodore Roosevelt, and it's from The Man in the Arena, and it's from a speech called "The Citizenship in a Republic," and it was delivered at the Sorbonne in Paris, France on April 23rd, 1910. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. Monday morning quarterbacking, right?
Yeah.
The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and at the worst, he fails. At least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. So, man, I love that.
Fail daring greatly. Give it all you got. Fail well. Make it a big fail if you're going to do it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you guys want to look it up, I'll probably do the words next week with our special guest next week. But Garth Brooks years ago wrote a song called "Standing Outside the Fire." And if you guys want to bring that up on your own and go listen to it, really, really great words. And that's what it reminds me of. You dare greatly. You've got to be inside that arena and doing the hard stuff in order to either triumph with high achievement or at the worst, you fail, but you fail daring greatly. So, man, Jenn, we know a little bit about Jenn's story. And we did, gosh, I got to learn about Jenn's story back in August when we started putting together the oh goodness, why did I yes, you week. Yes,
you was so much fun. That was so much fun putting that together. Yeah.
Right. And we started doing that. That was our first time. And it's actually coming up again. We'll talk about that later. But that was my first introduction to Jenn. And I heard her story and I was just like, holy smokes, this woman is amazing. And the more,
just soak it all in, Jenn.
Yeah, just take it.
Soak it all
That's
in.
so foreign to me. That's so foreign to me. I'm like, okay. But
it's real though. It's true.
Yeah, I know.
It is. Oh man, it's so true. So Jenn, oh my gosh. So here are some thoughts that I had while I've been pondering about being in the arena and face down moments in the arena. And what has that looked like for you, Jenn? And specifically, if you don't mind, can we talk about the car accident that you had when you were in your 20s?
Yeah, that was like, I think my first real face down in the arena moment in my life, where it's like, I realized, gosh, you're just in a place of like intense struggle, but also unknown and also precarious and just a lot of not knowing about things. And I'll give you a little bit of history, a little bit of background about it. When I was 20, I was in a head-on collision with a drunk driver, and I was the passenger, and I watched my dearest friend in the world die. She was the driver. And so out of that came a lot of physical injury, a lot of mental and emotional issues that needed to be addressed by the PTSD of that experience. And it was, I was not supposed to survive that. In fact, when the EMTs came on the scene, later we found out, they told us, they said that they find the warmest body, and then they will work on that body in hopes that they can save that individual. And I was the warmest body. So it was a very traumatic experience. And when I suffered head injuries. They had to reconstruct the left side of my face. I had brain injuries, and that was just what happened up here. I had a whole bunch of like stuff with my body. And when I got out of, I'm kind of fast forwarding, when I got out of the hospital and tried to re-engage back into like my life and trying to understand what was mentally wrong with the brain and trying to, and emotionally and everything, I went to what was called a neuropsychologist. He looked at my my records and was saying, okay, she's going to have this problem, and this problem. I'm surprised she's not, I hate to use the term, but a vegetable. I'm surprised she's got some cognitive stuff going on, but her road is going to be very hard. And by looking at my records, he was just basically saying she's going to need help the rest of her life. And that was not with like, I had some physical stuff that was going on. And I walked into his office and sat down, and I was having a conversation with him, and he kept looking at me like, wait a minute, and he basically told me, you're not what your records say, what you should be. And, so I do believe in miracles. I do believe in divine intervention. I do believe, but also I do believe that when you have your face down moment and you have help, there is also a measure of your grit that comes into it, what you are responsible for, what you are to work out and do. And what was interesting for me is like your body heals. Your body just knows what to do. It will heal if it can do it, and it just does it. But your brain and your heart, so to speak, that emotional part of you, that has a little bit different. Sometimes it doesn't heal like it should heal, and so you have to have your moments of trial and error, and trying and failing until you find that you can overcome something. Or maybe not. This is just going to be how your life is going to be, but man, I gave it my best. I dared greatly. And this is how it's going to be. And so that's kind of how I lived my life. And it actually put me into the realm of emotional healing, because I'm like, I'm a mess. I got to figure myself out. And I'm all like, because I didn't like the state I was in. I didn't like the feeling of emotionally not being able to control certain aspects of myself. And then also understanding that, maybe these things aren't your thought patterns or your belief systems, things just aren't the best for you. It's not serving your highest and greatest good. And so then I went on that self-discovery. That is where I think that arena is so important, because not everybody wants to step into that, because a lot of people don't even know that there is an arena to step in for personal change and growth.
Right.
And a lot of other people don't want to step into it because it's scary, or what are people going to say and think? And then a lot of people get a lot of negativity when they do that. And that was a little bit of my experience. And I'll share it with that, because and it was really super hard, because a lot of my naysayers and negative talk was actually coming from my support group that I thought would support me. And they didn't do it out of hatred. They did it out of love, because they were scared. So that was a big thing for me to learn, that they were trying to keep me out of the arena because they were scared for me. Like, don't do this because your records and the doctors are saying that this is how you're supposed to be. So stay in this box. Don't step out and try and be different. And I was just like, forget that. If you're saying my brain, Beth, you're laughing. If you're saying my brain is going to be yeah. If you're saying my brain is going to be this way, but yet I'm standing in front of you being different, who are you going to believe?
Right.
And
this
so
is who I am. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I had some pretty, excuse me, I had some pretty sad moments with individuals that would not take at face value what I was becoming, instead of, keeping me as like, oh, well, a doctor is, and everybody says you should be this. But I mean, later on now they realized, that they were like wrong, because I have been able to go on and do certain things in my life, like college degree, learn a different language, all these things that they were saying, oh, you're not going to be able to do this because your head got smashed, or things like that. And I'm like, but don't you see the evidence before you that's saying it's different, that I can learn, that I can read, that I can have, logic, and I can have deduction and things like that. So that's my face down in the arena moment. And I learned a lot of different things of just, at some point, you only trust yourself and what you have come to believe your truth is. And of course, with your creator, because I wouldn't have been able to do it without my creator, and without his help and support. When I turned to the people that I thought would support me, and they were the ones that was trying to instill their fear in me. And I realized it came, like I said, from a place of like, they just wanted what was best for me, and they were nervous and scared for me. But yeah, it was a long road, and it continues to be a road, but it's not, I'm not that person anymore. I have become different. And so it's like when you're talking about me sharing this, and I'm like, I almost feel like I'm telling a story of somebody that I have no idea who this person is.
That's often the
Totally
way it
different
is.
person.
That's
Yeah.
often the way it is. So, I had like a lot of questions going through my mind as you're having this moment and you're in front of a doctor and the doctor's looking at you and you're totally, he's like, you're not supposed to be able to be having this conversation. Yeah, you're not supposed to wait a second. And then you've got your support group that is listening to the doctor, right? And it is scary. So when you watch, being an outsider and you watch someone that you love that is hurts so terribly, you don't want to see them hurt ever again, right?
Yeah.
And so you go into that place of fear. How could it, with your experience, and maybe you're really good at this now, but how could someone who is on the outside that's supposed to be supporting someone in a situation like you, what could they do to be a really great support? What are some ideas that you, looking back, maybe you could have used, for support?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, my support group, my parents would tell me one thing and just, but I was old enough at the point, I was 20, to say, forget it, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go try, and they just, but that was who I was as a child anyway. So they're just kind of like, throwing their hands up in the air, just be the safety net for when they do go and try and they fail, they did learn something from it and they tried. And not a lot of times do we have success on our first try. We have to try again and we have to try again because we're learning. It's like going back to that, we always talk about, like, when you learn to walk, it was failure after failure, but it was learning failure.
Well, and we didn't look at it as failure. We looked at it as just the process, which is totally different
the process.
From looking at it as failure. We were just looking at it was the learning to walk process. And you were just learning to be who you are. It was your process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm trying, my parents did support me. Don't get me wrong. They did support me how they could, but that was the big thing that kind of stood out when I was like, and it even got to it was even like because I got married 5 years later, and a year after I got married, my husband and he was doing an overseas learning Italian. And so we had to go live in Italy. And it was like, you thought that my parents, you thought my parents was still seeing me as that person in the hospital bed, because they thought I was going to go over to Italy and I was going to have a nervous breakdown. And how was I going to do this? And so they could not see me as what I had become just in those 5 years. And so I really started to understand they are working from this place of fear, to the point that they don't think I understand myself. And so, excuse me, just give them a place to land. But if they want to say they're going to want to try and do something, don't stop them, because who's to say they will be successful on the first go? But don't clip their wings and believe them. If they say, I want to do this, just say, do it. Let's
do it.
What's to lose?
How
just
can I support you? Yeah. How can I support you?
Yeah.
What do you need from me? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, oh man, that's a hard place. That's a hard place, because we want to protect and we want to be the rescuers oftentimes, and being a rescuer requires somebody to be a victim. And you didn't want to be a victim. You were like, I'm done. This happened. I was face down. I'm getting up. It wasn't like a quick get up. It was it was years. Yeah. But there was little victories all along, and there was also large failures all along. They threw me back into college and said, we need to know where your space, your holes are in your learning and in your mind and everything.
So we need to throw you back in and to see if you sink or swim. And it was hard because I mean, I was still trying to learn how to write again. And I would look at a book and go, I know I read that book. I know I liked it, or I know I didn't like it, but I couldn't tell you anything that was happening in this book. It's like, so college was really hard, but they're like, that's the best way to do it. Let's see where your challenges are. And there was great support there in the sense that the president of the college, of the university, even knew my story because my friend was a daughter of 2 college professors.
Oh,
so they
wow.
knew my story. And so they even, like, after I even took the final in some of my classes, he said, do you want to drop this? If you think you did horrible, drop it. We'll just wipe it off for you. I mean, they were so good to me as I was like going through this minefield of finding out where my learning difficulties were. And so, there was a lot of really good support there. But, man, what I think one of the biggest things that experience taught me, my face down in the arena, was I was strong enough to rely on myself because I had my creator. And even though I had, like some pretty shaky support groups around me at times, I became my truth. I became the person that led my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know any other experience that would have given me that solid understanding except for that face down moment.
Yeah.
And learning, like, man, you do have some grit, but you also, and that's why I kind of thought about it, like, like I do have these gritty moments where I do have to be like, really have like a lot of grit, but then I also have to give myself the grace to say, well, that didn't work out, and that's okay. Let's try something different, or let's try it again. You learn something, you have in the grace to give yourself that, you can fail and it's okay.
And it's necessary, right? It's not just like, if we never failed at anything, how can we grow, right?
Right. We need failure. It's part of our growth process. Yeah.
We just be way too comfortable. Yeah. Jenn, did you have, and maybe it was several times, where you were like, okay, here's this face down, but it was like just this deciding moment, like, no, that's not the way it's going to be. Was it when you heard the doctor say some things, or when your parents said something? Can you share about that? What that time what looked like?
Yeah, this is gonna be kind of funny because so the left side of my face had to be reconstructed, and there is some paralysis there. There is some paralysis there, but it really drooped, and I talked out of the side of my mouth and all this stuff and everything. And at that point, they're telling you this is how it's going to be. And I'm all like, no, because I know the Sylvester Stallone story, and
See?
I don't know. And I don't know if you know his story, that when he was born as a child, he had something wrong where the one side of his face was paralyzed, and his mom would pinch it so that it would be stimulated. She was like, I will not let my child have this thing. And you could kind of tell that when he talks, everything, he kind of has one side of his face works better than the other side.
Yeah.
And so I said to myself, dang it, I know the Sylvester Stallone story. So I would pinch my face, and I would pinch all over it, because I'm like, I am not going to have a paralyzed face. I mean, I have it. There is, my face is not symmetrical, and there are some things wrong with it and everything. And there also, but it's interesting because that one side has a dimple now, where the other side doesn't. And I'm like, yay,
It's a trophy.
It's a trophy.
It's a trophy.
It actually has a little bit more of a lift than the other side of my face, which is supposed to be natural, and it sags. And so I'm just kind of like laughing about that now. But that was one of the things I was like, no, the doctor said that my face is always going to droop. No, I know that story. And so that's what I would do. But there was also the like, when I started learning all of what was wrong with me, if my brain, and how they're like, you will not be able to go to college because I was having the concentration issue, but also the like taking the information, putting it in my brain and putting it down on paper and understanding it, like note taking. They're like, you're not going to be able to do that. So what it made me do was concentrate extra and just take notes. I mean, I learned how to take notes. I learned little tricks because I'm a visual learner and I would like record my lectures in case I needed to and things like that. And so I learned some things. And what's so amazing is your brain can heal. Your brain can heal like you would not believe. And if you just involve God, it will just go like that. I mean, because if it's a desire for you and it's righteous, and which I believe he is for all of his children, he'll bless you with it. And so I have this amazing understanding and belief of you can heal parts of yourself if you just put in the grit, but also add, some divine intervention and some help from God, from your creator. But yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. I kind of got off on a tangent, which is
totally answered.
Possibly my brain problem, but possibly just who I am,
No, that's the way stories are, right? Our stories are, they're not just a straight line. Our stories have little side roads here and there, and it's impossible to tell a story just in a straight line, or it's really boring.
Yeah.
Right? It's really boring. Wow. I love that. And I love that, you felt God's grace in that whole thing. And I think there are so many times when we find ourselves in a moment or in that moment where we have the opportunity to decide, how's it going to be? I'm just going to lay back and I'm never going to go to college. I'm just going to accept this. Or you know what? Yeah. Because that's what they told me. But there was something inside from your creator that said, no, there's more to this. Yeah.
And granted, there were some things that I was like, no, I would put that like, chutzpah or whatever behind and try and do. And I would realize, no, you're just not going to be able to do that for whatever reason. It could be that because of what happened to your brain, or it could be because of what happened to your body, or just because, you're never going to be a brain surgeon, or I'm never going to get an A in calculus because my brain just cannot do college A calculus, but I can get that B, so it's like, there's just some things that are just like, maybe just not for you. And that's okay.
And it's okay to accept that. That's where the grace comes in, right?
Yeah.
To accept and to really feel fulfilled and realize, I think it's important too, that I believe anyway, since I wasn't there, that you would see each of those moments and those steps and be like, okay, I'm closer, or I'm right, or I'm making progress, right? Yeah. I'm not exactly where I want to be. And you say that even now, I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I'm
on my way.
Progress. Yeah.
Jenn's keyword, her magic word is yet.
Yes.
Taught me that a long time ago. Not yet. Yes, but that doesn't coming.
I haven't done it yet.
Yet.
I don't have it yet. Yeah.
Yet.
I think there's one thing that when we're in the arena and we're doing it and we're failing and we're doing it and everything, we're just experiencing things that, yes, it's gritty and it's hard, but I think if you can add an element of humor to it, it just makes it easier. Because there are some things like there's something that I struggle with my brain, which is if two words are really similar, either in sound or spelling or possible meaning, I'll switch them around. And it's most likely when I'm talking. And so they're the funniest, like the sentence that I will say and the person hears and creates something in their brain can be the funniest thing in the world. And and so that's why you laugh.
That's why you love my text so much, right?
Oh, that's why I love your text. And I just laugh because that's why I love autocorrect, because I have that in my brain at times, and it makes for the funniest things. And I'm like, or for the most profound, like, yeah, that's really how it is, Yeah.
I love that. Brene Brown, in her book, Rising Strong, this is a lot, like I was looking this up because it reminded me so much of what you're saying. She has just a sentence in here. She says, when you're on your path, the universe will conspire to help you. So it opens up and it sends people, those angels, right? Those
It's the universe with a capital U.
Yeah.
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 I love that.
Yeah. It conspires to help you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And she talks about the messy middle, which that's the hard part, because too often we're in that messy middle and we're too far in to turn back, right? We're just like, okay, I'm not going back to where I was or who I was.
But I sure don't want to keep moving here.
Yeah, it's really scary. I still can't see that light ahead, to keep going. But there's something inside us that tells us you're
just a little bit more. Yeah, just a little bit
farther.
more. Yeah,
just a little farther. Yeah,
farther. Yeah. And it's just one little step at a time, isn't it? Oftentimes.
Yeah. And I found usually that messy middle, when I have that realization, oh, this is the messy middle, man, this sucks. And I want to just sit down. I don't want to go forward. Right. I just want to be done. I
want to take a break.
If I just, a little bit more, I'm through it. For some reason, my messy middle, that realization comes just before the breakthrough. So if I just can say, okay, deep breath, keep moving, then the breakthrough comes soon after. At least that's my pattern. That's how it works.
That's been my pattern. If
I can just keep telling myself, tell myself, just keep with it, because right now it's discouragement. Right now you want to quit, but you're almost there. And it's like that tipping point.
I think that's why in Finding Nemo, Dory's line, just keep swimming, was so quickly immortalized, right? Because that's the thing. We just have to keep swimming. We just keep going. Because you're on the edge of a breakthrough. Just keep going.
Yeah. The first marathon I ever ran I ran with two other people, and we promised that we would stay with each other the whole time. And it is, Jen, it reminded me, as you were saying, you're so close, but you don't know that you're close to finishing. And that's when it hit me. I would have just totally given up. I started walking, and because it just seemed like I couldn't finish, I couldn't finish. And I was probably within 2 miles of a 26.3 mile run. Yeah. And I'm ready to quit. I'm like, I'm done. My toes hurt. I've got blisters from the tag of my underwear. It's like, oh my gosh, blisters and places. I didn't know I could have blisters. But being done, but having somebody, and this was what we did with each other, is the person who was starting to fail, we would put them in the middle. And then he would run on either side, right? And we all had a turn in the middle. We all did. That I want to give up point hit at different times. And I think that's the way it is in life. We have so many people around us that are there to help be our support if we'll look to them and we'll allow them to be a support to us and keep us going.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then we get our turn in the middle. I love that segue, because isn't that what we all need? We just need to be surrounded and be in the middle when we have those hard times. Yeah. Amazing.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. Be in the middle. Yeah. That's fantastic.
I really like that.
Well, next week we have her name is Mandy Quedlin, and she's got quite a story, just like all of y'all have quite the story to share, and she's agreed to share it. She's a little nervous. She's like, I've never really done this, but I want people to hear my story so that they can learn that they can do it too.
Oh, that's fantastic. Way to be brave, Mandy. Good job.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Way to step into the arena.
that's right.
Yes.
And
right?
we be a kind arena.
Oh yeah.
She can be
We
in the
will be
middle and
cheer.
we'll
We will
support
be
her on either
cheering in the
side.
seats. Absolutely.
That's
For
right.
sure.
That's awesome.
For
For
sure.
tonight, we have mastermind. Our mastermind group's coming up tonight, and I'm so excited because I have something new to teach about that's going to help us kind of move into that next level, with the projects that we're working
Right.
on. And then
Mhm.
tomorrow we have Coach and Clear, which is always a favorite. Come and bring your baggage and let us support you with your baggage and help you get rid of some of that stuff. Yeah. What else have we got going on this week? We've got book club on Wednesday. How's book club going, JC?
Book club is amazing. We are finishing our discussion. Yeah, I had to look at the calendar. We
Yeah.
are finishing the discussion of The Mountain Is You, and I'll share on the 50/50 Girl Club just some things that I've learned. Like I don't know if you can see, but I am a highlighter and I'm marking my book up. Anyway, there's highlights and hearts and underlining and
Beautiful.
Notes in the side. Yeah.
Yeah, I make a mess.
Yeah.
Nobody can ever read I can't loan my books out. So,
Oh, I don't want to.
People will know you
They're
really
so-
well if they borrow your books. I'm sure they'll know everything.
right?
Do you guys have a book chosen for next month yet, for March?
We don't have one yet. I have a couple that I'm considering, but I haven't made a decision.
So we'll
on
hold
that,
everyone
so.
in suspense until next week.
Yeah,
Then they'll
we
get
will.
Stay tuned.
Mhm.
Yes. And
Stay
then
tuned.
we have a jumpstart coming up a week from Saturday. And it's going to be on aroma freedom technique, the power of oils, and setting goals. So we'll be going back a little bit to inspired goals and a lot into the power of essential oils and the way that they can help us make the goals that we want come true in our lives. Jen, you got anything you want to share about oils and the power of AFT, aroma freedom?
Oh gosh.
You're going to be
Talk
teaching a lot
about,
too that day, I remember.
I love things that smell good anyway, but I just love knowing that when I use them and I use them intentionally for like either shifting a thought pattern or an emotion or creating something, there is just something that happens in my brain. And of course, I'm all about the brain,
Right.
there's just something that just shifts within me. And it was, being human, I sometimes forget that that's such a powerful tool for me to use when I'm sitting there wallowing and why can't I get this done or why can't I move forward? I'm like, and I'm doing all my other tricks and tools. I'm like, oh, have you picked up your oils? So I'm really looking forward
not
yet, because I use them every day, but I use them for different purposes. And I'm like, well, I haven't intentionally used them on this aspect. And so I'm really excited to get my oils out and, clean the rust off of that part of my life.
And clean the rust off of any of the goals you set back the first of the year. Take a look at them again and see where you might need a little attention and bring that goal to the jump start on the 4th. And we're going to go in there and polish them all up and get them moving again. It's going to be good.
Oil them up so they don't squeak anymore.
That's right. No more squeaky wheels. We'll oil them all up. That's beautiful. Yeah, it's going to be a good week, going to be a good couple of weeks. And we look forward to our next guest speaker next week. Tell me again her name.
Mandy Quedlin.
Mandy.
Quedlin.
Mandy, we can't wait. We're excited. And thank you. Thank you, Jen, for your willingness to be vulnerable and to share with us. That was really cool.
Yes.
Really cool. Very valuable. So till next Monday, till our Creator Base Weekly comes back and we're ready to do it again. Y'all have a beautiful, creative week. Talk to you soon.
Guys.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
If I wake up with a bad attitude, I fill my mind with gratitude. I give thanks for everything, with every little thought I think. I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with
joining us today in a creator-based life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on Linktree/cmhcoaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. Whoa, day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think. What you thinking? 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 You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.